Hi everybody, my name is Hannah and this is Pepper and Pine, and I have a chemistry lesson to share with you today. We're working through our live education chemistry main lesson block. This is a Waldorf-inspired curriculum, and for one of the lesson activities, it suggested that the student write down a selected list of elements and their symbols into the main lesson book. So we did that, but we want to take it up a notch and make something that's a little bit more engaging. And so we're going to be turning this into a bit of a game for our opening activities by making memory cards that we can play a memory game with. So I'm using my Fabriano watercolor paper. This is 140 pounds, so it's nice and thick, which we want. And it's also smooth, so it is hot press water paper. And I'm going to cut this down to 3-inch squares. And this seems to be like a good size, but then I compare it to the other set that I made, and they are too big. So I've got 2-inch squares, 2.5-inch squares, and 3-inch squares. So the 2-inch is too small, the 2.5-inch is just right, and the 3-inch is a little bit too big. So I'm going to cut these down again so that they are 2.5-inch squares. So this is the first set that I made. These are 2-inch squares. I'm just writing the name on the cards, and I'm making it a double set so that the students can either match up the symbols or the words, and that didn't work out very well. So I've got some supplies here to make this whole memory game more interesting, more engaging, and more enjoyable to play. I've got some watercolors, and the only way this is going to work is if the watercolors have the metallics, and they do. So I've got 2 sets of metallic paints because we're going to be needing them for our illustration. So back to our main lesson book, I have my list here, and on the side I wrote down just tiny little sketches for the illustrations that I thought would work well for this game. And it's going to be a little bit of a stretch on why I'm doing the illustrations the way I'm doing them, but hopefully we can play along together at this time and try to guess why I'm doing the illustrations the way I'm doing them. So this first one is a can of peas. So I'm doing that for 10, and I've got the Latin name as well. And then on the other memory card, we're going to do the same illustration, but the word, instead of it being 10, we're going to do the symbol for 10. So I'm doing canned peas because we can have the stretch of it being a tin can, and while I'm doing the elements, the illustrations are going to be words or illustrations that in some way relate to the elements. They're not going to be the pure form of the element. They're often going to be a compound that contains the element. All right, so what are we doing next? We are doing a thermometer. So this first thermometer is a little bit small, and so I'm going to struggle to get the numbers in. So this one's going to be a little bit bigger, and I'm going to be able to write in the numbers 110 down to 80, because this is the kind of thermometer that goes under your tongue, although they do not contain mercury anymore, but they used to, and that's why I did the thermometer. So one side is going to have Hg, the symbol for mercury, and the other side is going to have mercury, the name, so that way we can match up the name of the element to the symbol. This one's pretty easy. It is just a pot, and let's see what color I paint it. I paint it copper, so that's for a copper pot, and that is going to be for the element copper. And then I'm also going to add the Latin form so that we can understand where, for these particular elements, where the symbol comes from. So this next one is inspired by the Golden Gate Bridge. So we're going to be doing a bridge, and we do know that the Golden Gate Bridge is a golden orange color, but I'm going to be making this bridge in a more steel color, and that's because steel is made from iron and carbon, and we're going to be using this illustration for iron. So steel is made out of different elements, and so once again, the elements that we're writing down for these cards is going to be loosely connected to the illustration. And so I'm adding a little bit of water under that bridge, and then I'm titling it iron, and then Fe for the other card. So the next one we're doing, can you guess what it is? I'll give you a minute. Oh, it looks sort of like a pipe. Yes, indeed, it is a pipe. It is a lead pipe, but We do not use lead in pipes anymore. And so this is maybe something that's less familiar for my student, but it is still kind of iconic to be using lead as a pipe. But we know nowadays that we use other materials because lead is not safe for pipes anymore. What's next? Looks like a bracelet. Oh, but I don't like it. So I'm going to do a cuff instead. And this is because I wanted to do this for silver. I wanted to do a cuff as silver because I wanted to save a ring for gold. So I did a cuff, which when you know that it's a cuff, it looks like a cuff. But other than that, I think it's a little bit hard to tell. And then I finally decided that everything needs to be accentuated with my black Sharpie, as well as all of the words. And I did test this out first on a spare piece of watercolor paper to make sure that it wasn't going to bleed through. And it doesn't bleed through on my test strip, but it can show just a touch through on all of the other cards that I did. So I'm considering just giving everything a simple, even wash of blue on the backside of the card so that you can't start to guess through them based on the markings from the ink bleeding through. So this is a gold ring that follows the silver cuff, and I am going over it with the Sharpie, and I think that really accentuates the illustration much better, and I like it overall so much more. Okay, so this one, well, I sort of debated this. I don't love every single illustration, but this one is, you can kind of think of it as that corrugated metal that's sometimes on top of roofing. And that's because this one is for zinc, and zinc is often used in a lot of metal in order to make it weatherproof and to keep it from rusting. And one of the metallic paints that I was using mistakenly had a green tone to it, and I thought that it just got mixed with another color, but it was supposed to be green, and I was using it thinking that it was just pure metallic. So that one had a bit of a green sheen to it. So this one's really cute. I'm making a little laptop. At first I thought I'd make a desktop computer from like the early 2000s, maybe even from the 1990s, and I thought that's going to be less relatable for my daughter, even though a lot of these things are a little bit dated. Even that laptop looks a little bit thick. But I am making a laptop because, we're doing silicon, and that is used in a lot of microchips. So hence the computer, the little laptop with the screen and the keyboard. And I even made a little camera at the top there. All right, so what's next? I brought this one all the way down to normal speed so you can see how slowly these illustrations came together. But I want to say that this entire set took 2 hours, so not too bad. So what's this one? If you guessed aluminum foil, you would be right. I know it doesn't look like aluminum foil just yet. And without the box, I feel like it doesn't look quite the way I expected, but once you label it, it's aluminum foil, which you will be able to see at the end because I've moved on to another illustration, and this one is for carbon. I know it seems a little bit strange because you could have used a diamond for carbon, as someone suggested when they saw my Instagram of this project, which, by the way, you can see all the projects that we're doing on a daily basis by following me on Instagram at Pepper and Pine. But I chose a tree because carbon gets locked up in plant life. And the reason why I chose to use a tree for this is because we're studying combustion, and we do need a fuel source for combustion. And when you burn a tree, you do release that carbon back into the atmosphere. So now we're going to work on another one, and this one was a lot of fun, and I think at this point I wanted a lot more color in our illustrations, and so I'm doing a balloon, and if you can guess that it's a helium balloon, then you would be right. And I'm going to make my helium balloon a bright red color because I feel like that is iconic when it comes to balloons, and this way we can truly see actually helium, which is one of the few cards where you're going to, in a way, see the actual element. But helium in balloons does something amazing. It allows that balloon to rise in the air because helium is less dense than air. And something else that's kind of fun is that it changes your voice. So if you have ever inhaled helium from a balloon, which I do not recommend because I do not know the safety measure around it, but it does change your voice. So that is for helium, and I am outlining it before it's completely dry, and I don't recommend that because it doesn't outline very well, and then your pen sort of gets clogged up and it doesn't work very well. All right, so for this next one, I'm really enjoying adding a little bit more color, and I'm doing what sort of looks like wind, and this is for one of the elements that is in the air, and this is for nitrogen. And I am going to outline a little bit of the air with my black Sharpie pen a little bit later. So now for this one, I'm doing clouds. And again, this is for one of the other gas elements. And I'm going to be very loose with nitrogen, and for this one, which is oxygen, and the next one coming up soon, which is hydrogen. And that's because oxygen is found in water. Water droplets are in clouds, and of course nitrogen makes up the majority of the gas in our atmosphere, and hence the wind. And next I'm going to be doing a salt crystal before we get to hydrogen and water. We are going to depart for a moment and do a salt crystal for sodium. And once again, sodium Na is actually an NaCl, which is actually sodium. And so this is, again, a bit of a leap when we're looking at the illustration versus the element. So this one is for sulphur, and I'm trying to do something that's kind of smelly. So those squiggly lines are meant to illustrate something that doesn't smell so good. And then I've come back in and I've outlined our sodium cards as well, doing that with our sulfur. And I forgot to add the Latin for sodium, so I went ahead and I added that underneath the sodium card. So now I'm doing waves of water, and this is for one of our other gases that in its pure form is a gas, but when mixed with oxygen creates water, and that's hydrogen. And now I'm doing, this is a bit of a stretch, but I'm doing, it looks like another pipe. There's something coming out of that pipe. It's actually water that didn't look so great with that first illustration, so I'm going to fix it. So water is coming out of a pipe, and that's for chlorine, and that is because a lot of times chlorine is used to purify, or not purify so much as to kill all the germs in water to make it safe for drinking. So that's why it's important to have those filters to take out the chlorine once it killed all those little germs. And so once again, it's not pure chlorine. It's in the form of bleach, which contains 3 elements. So I'm just adding a few details before moving on to neon, if you guessed it. So for neon, I'm just writing it in the iconic neon shape for when you see those neon signs. And then I wanted something that was more neon, but I chose orange. I could have chosen yellow neon as well, but I decided orange just to give it like a pop of color. Then I added a little bit of silver along the edges so that it could kind of look like it was sparkly and on, but that did not give the effect that I wanted it to. So I'm really running out of ideas here. So that is a banana, and a banana contains potassium, and actually there are other fruits and vegetables that contain more potassium than bananas, but I chose it for potassium, which is a mineral different from potassium, the element, but in the mineral potassium, it contains potassium. So that's why we chose the banana for this one. I'm coming back and I am outlining the neon before finishing up this project. We have one last one to do, and I got this idea from one of the elements books that we have that we're using with this chemistry main lesson block, and phosphorus is in matches. So we chose to draw a match, and then we're just writing phosphorus and of course P for the symbol and outlining it all. And this is what they look like in the end. I am so pleased with them, and the only thing that I might change is to add blue to the back of the cards. We're going to play it a few times and see if that is an advantage, that some of the ink has come through. None of the watercolor came through because we did use 140-pound watercolor paper, so that was completely fine for this. And because we did not do wet on wet watercolor, all of the pieces of cards stayed flat except for one. And the other thing that I might consider doing is laminating all of the cards just to make sure that they stay in good condition as we play this game. I hope that you enjoyed this memory game project for our chemistry main lesson block. Don't forget to check out the blog post that accompanies this video for more information on all of the resources we're using for our chemistry main lesson block, as well as our chemistry unit study. You can find the link to that blog post in the description box below. And if you'd like to see how we're homeschooling on a daily basis, you can find me on Instagram at Pepper and Pine.